What's up, smarty people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Make your next thing a big one. This week's shows, I will be at the Rab on Friday night, my usual Friday night gig, the video dance party karaoke jam at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. If you're anywhere in the Conway, Arkansas area, anywhere in central Arkansas, get yourself to the Rab on Friday night, 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. Video dance party, karaoke jam, full bar, kitchens open, pool tables, pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, you can do it at the Rab, Conway, Arkansas, Friday night, 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast. It's called What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, Biden approves sending 3,000 troops back to allies in Ukraine crisis. President Biden has approved sending 3,000 more U.S. troops to Poland, Germany, and Romania as tensions rise with Russia over Ukraine. The Pentagon announced Wednesday about 2,000 of the soldiers will go to Poland and Germany. The other 1,000 are based in Germany, but will be deployed to Romania. The troops are expected to move, quote, in the coming days, end quote, to support the defenses of European allies, Defense Department officials said. But Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby stressed that the soldiers, quote, are not going to fight in Ukraine, end quote. The U.S. has placed 8,500 troops on heightened alert recently, and as the U.S. and its NATO allies have warned that Russia has massed 100,000 of its forces near Ukraine border and is preparing to invade. This is according to CNN and the Defense Department. Number 2, Biden unveils plan to supercharge cancer moonshot campaign. President Biden on Wednesday unveiled a plan to boost cancer prevention, screening, and treatment to reduce the death rate by at least half in the next 25 years. The push is designed to, quote, supercharge, end quote, the, quote, cancer moonshot, end quote. Biden started and spearheaded when he was vice president under former President Barack Obama. Biden said, as he announced the campaign, Biden said he would create a, quote, cancer cabinet, end quote, to lead the effort. Biden embraced the cause after his son Beau died from brain cancer in 2015 at age 46. Biden and First Lady Jill Biden were joined Wednesday by Vice President Kamala Harris, whose mother, a cancer researcher, died of the disease. Some details of the plan were not immediately clear, including how to pay for it. This is according to the New York Times and the Washington Post. Number 3, Army says it will start discharging unvaccinated soldiers. The U.S. Army announced Wednesday that it will immediately begin discharging 3,300 soldiers who have refused orders to get vaccinated against COVID-19, according to an Army memo dated January 31st. Commanders must immediately begin, quote, involuntary administrative separation proceedings, end quote, against any soldier who, quote, has received a lawful order to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19, end quote, quote, has been provided a reasonable opportunity to receive the COVID-19 vaccination, end quote, quote, has made a final declination of immunization, end quote, and, quote, does not have a pending or approved medical or administrative exemption, end quote. The Army will be the last branch of the armed forces to begin discharging unvaccinated service members. The Marine Corps, Navy, and Air Force have discharged a combined total of almost 600 troops, according to the Associated Press. Number 4, Jeff Zucker resigns as CNN president over consensual affair. CNN President Jeff Zucker resigned Wednesday after admitting he failed to disclose a romantic relationship with one of his chief lieutenants. Zucker, 56, said the information about his, quote, consensual relationship, end quote, with his, quote, closest colleague, end quote, CNN Executive Vice President Allison Gollust came out during an internal investigation into Chris Cuomo, the CNN host fired in December over his involvement in the response of his brother, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, to sexual harassment allegations that forced him from office. Zucker said he was required to disclose the relationship, quote, when it began, but I didn't. I was wrong, end quote. Both Zucker and Gollust are divorced. Gollust, who plans to continue working at CNN, said she and Zucker were friends for 20 years, but their relationship, quote, changed during COVID, end quote. This is according to the New York Times. Number 5, U.S. says Syria counterterrorism raid was successful, but locals say civilians died. U.S. Special Forces conducted a major counterterrorism raid in northwestern Syria near the Turkish border on Thursday. First responders said 13 people were killed, including 6 children, in what appeared to be the largest such U.S. operation since the assault that killed Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi in 2019 during the Trump administration. Residents told the Associated Press that the raid involved helicopters, explosions, and machine gun fire at a house in rebel-held Idlib province, an area where there are many camps for Syrians displaced by the country's civil war. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said, quote, the mission was successful, end quote, with, quote, no U.S. casualties, end quote. The target was believed to be an al-Qaeda leader. This is according to the Associated Press and USA Today. Number 6, New York judge's son pleads guilty to January 6 riot charges. Aaron Mostovsky, a New York judge's son who was among the first people to enter the Capitol during the January 6, 2021 attack, pleaded guilty Wednesday to the theft of government property, entering a restricted building, and civil disorder, a felony. During the riot, he carried a bulletproof vest and riot shield he picked up at the Capitol. Mostovsky admitted that he participated in the riot, quote, dressed as a caveman and carrying a walking stick, end quote, according to a statement of offense. He had told a friend that, quote, the fraud in the 2020 presidential election was so obvious, even a caveman would know the election was stolen, end quote, from former President Donald Trump. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg accepted the plea and scheduled sentencing for May. This is according to NBC News. Number 7, Facebook lost daily users for first time last quarter. Facebook lost daily users for the first time in its 18-year history last quarter, the social media's giant parent company, Meta, said Wednesday. Meta also reported a larger than expected decline in profits and middling revenue forecasts, sending its stock price plummeting more than 20% in after-hours trading. The drop in stock price, at least temporarily, erased nearly $200 billion in Meta's market value, quote, a figure greater than the size of the entire Greek economy, end quote, the Associated Press noted. The decline in Facebook's daily users was fairly modest, fewer than 1 million people worldwide. And the number of people logging into Facebook each month actually grew a bit, as did daily use of all Meta apps combined, including Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. This is according to the Associated Press. Number 8, FBI identifies 6 juveniles as persons of interest in HBCU bomb threats. The FBI on Wednesday identified 6, quote, tech-savvy, end quote, juveniles as persons of interest in apparently racially motivated bomb threats made against more than a dozen historically black colleges and universities this week. Howard University in Washington, D.C. was the first school to issue a shelter-in-place order early Tuesday, the first day of Black History Month. The university issued an all-clear notice later in the day. Howard and other schools received threats on Monday and Tuesday. Investigators said persons of interest around the country are suspected of using sophisticated methods to hide the source of the threats. This is according to NBC News. Number 9, prosecutors charge 4 over actor Michael K. Williams' fatal drug overdose. Federal prosecutors in New York said Wednesday that authorities had arrested 4 people in connection with the fatal overdose of actor Michael K. Williams, the Emmy-nominated actor best known for his role in The Wire. Irvin Cartagena, 39, Hector Robles, 57, Luis Cruz, 56, and Carlos Machi, 70, were charged with conspiracy to distribute fentanyl analog, fentanyl, and heroin. Cartagena was also charged with selling Williams the drugs that caused his death. Williams, who was 54, was seen on surveillance video appearing to buy from Cartagena the day before he died. Williams was found dead at his Brooklyn home on September 6th, wearing the clothes that he had on the video. The medical examiner found he accidentally died of an overdose of fentanyl, p-fluorylfentanyl, heroin, and cocaine. This is according to CBS News. Number 10, Washington football team picks Commanders as new name. The Washington football team announced Wednesday that it has selected the Commanders as its new name. The franchise has been called the Washington football team for 2 years as it searched for a permanent replacement for its former name of 87 years, the Washington Redskins, which it dropped following steady complaints that it was offensive and racist. Team president Jason Wright and coach Ron Rivera said during the 20-month selection process that the new name probably would refer to the military because the team is based in the nation's capital. Quote, "We are excited to rally and rise together as one under our new identity while paying homage to our local roots," end quote. Team owner Dan Snyder said as the team unveiled its new logo and uniform. This is according to ESPN. That's 10 things you need to know today for Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. Thank you so much for listening. This has been What Makes You Smarter. If you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast. It's called What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. And if you're anywhere in the Central Arkansas area, come on by Friday night at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. The video dance party karaoke jam. Always a good time at the Rab. Let's have some fun. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Smarter. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.